Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Rogue Wave Podcast, the frequency for all things pop culture and the disruptors behind it. We talk comics, movies, TV, and pop culture with the rogues who create it every week, Wednesday nights, facebook.com/Rogue Matter Podcasts. Available immediately on all major podcasting apps as soon as the live stream is over. I'm your host, Michael Dolce, as always, joined by my co-host extraordinaire, the Lord of the Radio, Hassan Godwin. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Sir, how you doing?
Wait a minute. It's St. Patrick's Day today?
It is.
That what it is?
Funny enough, I was going to wear green. However, we'll do a little beneath the curtain, pull away the curtain. This is a green screen, and so I would be invisible.
Yeah, this is a green screen. I got the green screen behind me. So all right, we're good.
I literally was going to wear a green shirt, and I did, and then I wasn't there, except for my head. I
didn't even know it was St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah,
like I mean, this is like the non-existent 2 years of our lives where like I don't even know events. I was lucky I knew it was Christmas when Christmas time came and went. So that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is.
Such is life, right?
That's what they say. I don't know.
We will celebrate. We will celebrate for the missing St. Patrick's Days in 2022. Now, here's the funny part too. This is I think for me it was anyway. I think this was the anniversary of when everything shut down as well too. It was on St. Patrick's
Day week in general, the whole week in general, because there's a whole bunch of mea culpas from all of these anchors and whatever people from news outlets or whatever a year later who all went on record saying this is like ridiculous and we're laughing about wearing masks and laughing about standing 6 feet apart from each other. And now it's just such a, like, I'm not even going to know how to deal with people without a mask. If like by the end of the year or whatever, if everybody stops wearing masks, I'm still going to stay away from people.
Yeah, I know. It's learned behavior over the past year. I agree with you. I agree. It's still it's part of it, but it will fade over time. We think. I hope.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
We shall see. So
yes, we will.
We got a lot of things to talk about tonight, which I'm really excited about because we are on the eve of the Snyder Cut, which finally gets to come out. You will be very proud of me, though. We are not going to talk reviews. Do you know why?
Why?
I have not read a single review. Purposely.
Good, because neither have I. I've seen people praise it, and I've seen people badmouth it. So
it's impossible if you go on Twitter. It's impossible if you go on Facebook. It's impossible. Well, no, not Facebook as much, but it's impossible to go on and anything like a news site and comic news site. And if if they reviewed it, it's in the headline. You kind of see like Snyder Cut, blah blah blah, or Snyder Cut, blah 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 blah. Or people post things on your timeline of reviews and things like that. I mean, so it's impossible to be completely
oblivious to
it. It's kind of like there was an episode of How I Met Your Mother, and I bring this up because my St. Patrick's Day outfit every year is this McLaren's bar shirt. And if you're a fan of the show, which I don't know if you are, but if anyone in our audience is a fan of the show, McLaren's is the bar is the fictitious bar in Midtown Manhattan that they go to every night. And so I have my How I Met Your Mother McLaren's green shirt, and that's what I would wear for St. Patrick's Day. And I was going to wear that again, as we discussed earlier, but green screen prohibits said problem. Said use of said shirt.
Okay.
But that being said, there was an episode where the main character Ted doesn't get to see the Super Bowl. And so he creates and they, as a friend group, promise not to spoil it for each other in terms of who wins the game. And they order wings, and they do, and he's got to go out and pick up the wings. And he invents this he has sunglasses. He's got earmuffs. He's got it's like a sound and visual, and he just cut 2 slits out so that, and he's got earplug. I told you the sound so that people. He won't overhear anything. He won't see anything. And the whole episode is how all 4 of them try to avoid the, learning the outcome of the Super Bowl so that they can watch it recorded.
Yeah. Doing all kinds of, but they go through all kinds of extremes in order to avoid hearing the slightest tidbit.
The irony is that all 4 of them at some point did see who won the game. But they did everything they could not to. So that's what I feel like with this. I'm trying desperately.
It's just, all you gotta do is be up at 3:00 in the morning tonight, and then you beat the spread, right? You win, right?
I'll pass on that. I'll pass on the 4-hour experience at 3:00 in the morning.
What?
Yeah.
You're not dedicated to?
Yeah, no.
Come on, just a
that
little
is my
coffee.
I'm already planning my
little Sanka, and then
I'm going to tell you,
you'll be ready as rain.
Did you just date yourself? Oh man. The Snyder Cut to me is going to be. I think I'm literally going to watch it in chapters. I don't think I don't have the bandwidth for a 4 hours.
You said you weren't going to watch it at all, so I guess that's a step.
No. I'm going to watch it. I just
you were like, oh my God, it's gonna be terrible. I'm not gonna watch it. That's basically was you. That was you, totally.
No, I'm gonna curse having watched it. Is what my standpoint was. I'm going to watch it and begrudge watching.
Yeah, it's like someone else the other day was like, I might actually have to watch this. Like, shut up. You know you're gonna watch. It's a 4.5 hour.
I'm gonna break it up over the weekend. It's six chapters.
I'm not even talking about you. I'm just talking about people who just get these like that's going to be part of the rage today.
Yeah,
people just get these attitudes about entertainment in general.
Yes,
and it's ridiculous. You know you're going to watch it.
I am.
The only I know. Now I'm not just talking about.
I know. I got you. Yes.
The only variable is whether you like or whether you dislike. Stop acting like you're not going to be there, because you're going to be there. You're going to be there for it. You just don't know if you're going to like it. You don't know if you're going to get rewarded for being there or you're going to get punished for being there. Those are the only differences.
Yep. That's yes.
That's it.
Yep.
Everybody needs to cut it out. Man up, everybody.
Here's the thing. So we will talk about it. They actually just unleashed a new final trailer. But if you see my shirt, they've also released a final trailer for something else that's debuting this week. What a coinkydink. Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Talcum and the Dinky Soldier, right?
I'm going to end up putting this shirt on. I think for the duration of this of the next like 8 weeks, right? Or 6 weeks. I think it's 6 weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be a funky shirt, and
I'll watch it.
That shirt's going to be in trouble.
So next segment, what we're going to do is we're going to pit the Snyder Cut. We're going to do trailer versus trailer. We're going to do the Snyder Cut final trailer versus the Falcon and Winter Soldier final trailer. I don't know. I have no qualifications for what will deem it one to come out on top more. But I will give you my reaction to the Snyder Cut trailer, which I think you'll be surprised at. Let's rewind a second, though.
Oh, well, then you must like it. So, I mean, you already ruined that one.
Spoilers.
What? Don't tell me there's going to be a surprise, and then when you spring the surprise on me, I'll be surprised.
Okay,
that's how it works.
Well, we'll see how that goes. But rewind a little bit. I wanted to talk about this. I wanted to talk about this 2 weeks ago, but I thought it fit pretty well today on today's show. Saw this article on Jezebel.com, the rise and fall of Joss Whedon, and it details and we talked about it briefly last week, the allegations against him of a hostile work environment. It detailed, Ray Fisher. Ray Fisher is really what brought this on.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking on the eve of the Snyder Cut release, the single worst decision Joss Whedon could have made was to take on the Justice League movie.
Really?
Look at the dominoes that fell thanks to it. Now, you can argue that these dominoes would have eventually fallen, that Charisma Carpenter might have come out and revealed that there was issues with the work environment, that it was a hostile work environment. And Sarah Michelle Gellar then would have come out and supported her, and David Boreanaz and all these, cast members have come out and kind of said that they stand with Charisma and that they,
maybe not without the Fisher, complaints in the first place. Right. So
he was coming off. Now, Age of Ultron was disappointing, I think, in terms of, but it still made billions. So
it did all right.
So in terms of his status at the end of 2015, entering Justice League, literally. Now he did have issues with Marvel, which also prompted his exit.
Yeah, because he complained, he whined about.
Yep. But
which is really funny, but I mean I can't get into that because that'll get in the way of what you were trying to say.
No. I was just gonna say. Yeah, go ahead.
The WandaVision stuff, right? The WandaVision was all about speculation stuff. We had a discussion about that last week, right?
Yeah.
The reason everybody mass speculates is because each and every one of these installments from each franchise is basically a trailer for the next, know, for the or rife with Easter eggs for upcoming material, whatever. Whedon complained that they wanted to install a lot of that stuff in Age of Ultron, as opposed to letting him have his weird rinky-dink, family moment at a farm in the middle of an Avengers movie. So if you can't determine what my attitude about that scene is like from my comment, then we're not going to discuss it. But it's funny how that's one of his bones of contention, to the point where it supposedly made him leave, or ruin the relationship between himself and the MCU, and that has basically become the MCU's bread and butter, right?
Yeah.
Because they literally propelled WandaVision to the top of all television charts because of all that crazy speculation and all those Easter eggs that they're that people are going fanatic, trying to figure out now. And it all started with Joss. He could have been the Lord host of all that, but yet he complained about it. So
yeah,
I think that's a little funny.
It is, and again, he was coming off that movie and was a hot commodity, to the point where DC wanted to poach him, to the point where DC was so dissatisfied with what Zack Snyder had done for the DC universe in trying to carbon copy or photocopy, however you want to call it, the Marvel blueprint within one movie, by the way. So no, I give Zack Snyder the benefit of the doubt in this sense, because I don't know how much he was being kind of prodded by Warner Brothers to do it. But I get the sense that it was a lot to instantaneously catch up with Marvel. And that was always my bone of contention with Batman v Superman, right? It was like two giant movies crammed into one movie, and both of them suffered as a result. You didn't need what's his name from The Social Network in there at all, playing Lex Luthor. You didn't Jesse Eisenberg. You didn't need Doomsday. You had Batman versus Superman, or likewise, you didn't need Batman versus Superman. You could have just had Superman versus Doomsday. You could have had one or the other. It didn't have to try so hard to do all that stuff. And that might not have been Zack Snyder's decision, right? That might not have been it, but they were so dissatisfied with the perception of that film and the perception of Suicide Squad in creating this MCU blueprint that they actively sought out Joss Whedon, and that ultimately has led to Joss Whedon's downfall. He's out at Batgirl. He's out at Warner Brothers. He's out in general.
He's out because of his behavior, though.
No, agreed.
Behavior.
That's why I'm saying it might have happened.
He shouldn't have taken it, but it would have been something else, right? If his behavior was that bad that, it took was one person saying something about it, and then everybody else, all these other, God forgive me for but all these other cowards that come out after the fact, but then again, you could call them brave, for having done it. But like a Charisma Carpenter, God bless, that was 20 years ago.
I know,
right? So she, it is traumatic, and it is bad. But if Ray Fisher hadn't said anything, I don't know if she would have said anything.
I know.
Right now, on the one hand, she's brave for saying something,
sure,
instead of towing the party line and saying, no, I thought that he was a completely respectable human being, whatever, wink, wink. But I don't know. I don't know. My issues with Joss Whedon are in his work.
Yep.
I don't know the man personally. I don't have an opinion of him on a personal basis.
Yep.
I don't know. I hope that these allegations aren't true from his perspective.
Sure.
I hope that they are true from the perspective of the victims. Correct. I hope everybody kind of gets. I hope we find out definitively one way or the other. Right.
Right.
But he shouldn't have done that movie if he was going to do that movie, then it should be on the merits of the art of the movie that he did, and whether we like it or not. Yep. Right? His downfall is because of the way he behaved, which would have happened on any movie. So I don't think particularly the Justice League, as they're calling it.
That's very catchy, though. I like that.
I don't think that particular. Well, maybe so, though. Maybe you're right, because if it's true, then Ray Fisher's the one guy who wasn't going to put up with it, right?
Right.
So everybody else was dealing with it, and Ray Fisher was like, "Heck no, I don't care if I lose my job or not." So maybe you're right. I don't know. I just think I don't want to blame the movie, because the movie's got problems of its own. It's got enough problems. So it's like I think if he wasn't a D-bag, he would be all right now.
Well, that's the other interesting
deeply
question,
loved,
right?
man. He was deeply loved. I remember getting roasted, like not liking a line that he wrote in a movie, or not liking a particular TV show that he did or whatever. I just remember getting destroyed, for even mentioning it.
I know.
So his fan base is fanatic.
Well, they had to rename the Whedon Con. Since there was a Whedon Con. Like, he literally had his own convention, and they've now called it Buffy. So I forget what the news article said. No, that's it. He's done. He's essentially done.
What do you think about that, though?
About what?
What do you think about that? Like, no, because that's terrible.
So,
but I mean, like, if you act out, let's say it's true. It's all true. What's the extent of what should happen? Should people just get off the bandwagon from your fan?
No, I actually don't think. I think that every instance, like not everyone deserves to go to the guillotine, right? Like, not everyone deserves to be socially murdered, which is essentially what ends up happening. And people can say, well, cancel culture is blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, there's also due process, right? There's that's why we don't have kangaroo courts. That's why we don't, it's not the Wild West where you just, you hang somebody on suspicion that they, did something right or wrong. Like, there is an actual, investigation. Now, hey, look, in the
yes or no, but because it's all a popularity contest, right? It's all just about being popular and not being popular. I mean, nobody's going to jail. Though. Nobody gets sent to jail. Nobody really honestly gets destroyed.
So you don't think having their entire legacy destroyed and the inability to work again in an industry that they've been putting their whole lives into, based on allegations rather than actual proof, is not the equivalent of that's the equivalent of social murder. I mean, it's what it is. You murder someone's ability to now make a living, based on things that may or may not be true. I'm not saying I'm not saying that if it's true that they don't get what they deserve, but I think there's also levels to it, right? I mean,
well, that's what I meant. I'm not talking about like the speculation. I'm saying, like, let's say he did it. Let's say we have proof, this definitive.
Oh, well, that's different. I mean, yeah, no, that's what I had said. Totally different.
I'm not saying I'm not litigating cancel culture or whatever, or whether I believe it even exists or not. But the bottom line about it is it's popularity contests. If you're not popular, I mean, like, look at high school, right? Is there due process in high school? There is not. Yeah,
I agree, but I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right in that either, right?
It isn't right, but it's a time-honored tradition of getting ostracized and getting kicked out of things for not being, for falling out of favor with the court, right? So
doesn't make it right, though. Doesn't make it right.
Yeah, but I mean, you're saying nothing is right. There's no such thing as right or wrong. That's what happens. I don't think it's a designed function. It's not a pre-designed system of like, okay, someone throws a switch and then suddenly your credit cards don't work anymore. I don't think it doesn't work that way. I mean, it's a byproduct of this really pervasive online community culture that just a message
that's given
can be sent.
Power. Look, you hit on the nail on the head, though, right? Like, corporations are giving this online community the power to socially murder people. Like they are, you know, and that's where it comes down to. I mean, at some point, people have to stand up and say, no, I'm not going to.
Nobody's going to stand up and say anything about that. It's money, man. The corporations are going to follow the money. If we can't make money,
and that's where I think that, but I think that's exactly where they're going. They have realized in some cases too, where, you know, look at box offices. Go back to Snakes in a Plane, right? Snakes in a Plane had the most buzz online of any movie, and then it turned out it didn't equal ticket sales. There's lots of cases where the buzz behind a specific movie doesn't equal the money. And so in terms of the follow the money train, it's not always the right move necessarily to just without doing an investigation.
You can't.
To Warner Brothers' credit, they did an investigation. They had an independent third-party arbitrator. Now, they didn't announce what the results of that are. They announced that people were reprimanded.
Ray Fisher got fired after that. So I mean, who knows? They, you know, if you're going to fire someone, then you come out and say these allegations are incorrect, and we've determined that. Ray
maybe
Fisher
they found that there was inappropriate behavior on both ends, and inappropriate's a weird word, right? Because it has such a stigma now of inappropriate. You know,
but I mean, when you say that also, instead of leaving that to speculation, what you've hung your man out to dry at that point. If you were doing it a proper investigation on the behalf of getting to the truth, and you get to the truth, and then you don't announce the truth after announcing that you have done an investigation, and then you fire one guy and you quietly stop working with the other guy, you still haven't done anybody.
Well, I mean, they it's not like they came out and they did what you do when you want to replace police officers with that, you know, without having to worry about the union, or replace a teacher without having to worry about the union. You take the position away. We don't have the role anymore. So they didn't fire. They're not recasting. They're not recasting Cyborg. They're just saying, okay, Cyborg's just not in this movie anymore. So yes, I agree.
You think that's morally, ethically correct? You know, like, I mean, if you're going to talk about that,
I'm just talking about the word fired. You're saying they fired him. They did. I'm not denying the outcome, but I'm saying the way they went about it.
Yeah, you're going to parse in the term.
But everything's leveled. Everything's nuanced. Terminology. Everything is layered and everything is nuanced.
If everything is nuanced, then you can't rightly come out against cancel culture, because there's a nuance to cancel culture. So that can't unilaterally be a wrong if everything is nuanced, then, right?
Cancel culture is pretty straightforward, right? It's not giving due process.
That's not how it works. That's not how you just described that it works.
I absolutely did. You either come out for something.
Firing someone. There's a nuance aspect to firing someone, right? There's three sides to every story, and a nuance aspect to firing someone, right? That's just what you said.
You do an investigation. You don't react to the immediate public.
So then it's not about the moral, you know, the moral fortitude and the correctness of the situation in and of itself. It's all a political decision. It's all a financial political decision.
I think it also comes down to, like, what are the allegations, right? Like his allegations are, and look, pregnancy discrimination. That's serious. Okay. Being a jerk to someone on set, that's different. If it comes out later on,
not necessarily though.
Well, one, there are actual laws that say you cannot discriminate against someone who's pregnant.
I understand what you're saying. It seems like you're purposely obscuring the situation that I'm talking about. I'm saying in general, if you cannot call someone's position being removed a firing, I'm removing this position and I'm no longer paying you anymore, and you understand, you consider that not quite a firing because there's nuance to it. Okay. I contend there's nuance to a cancel culture. And if nothing is unilateral, then nothing is unilateral.
Fine. I mean, I'll give you the all or none.
I'm not defending cancel culture at all.
I know you're not.
I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying.
No, I'm saying I'm saying yes. I'll go.
What other metric?
I'll go along with your statement that everything has nuance to it, even cancel culture. If we're saying that, yeah,
it's a simplistic metric.
Yeah,
to gauging what the community, what your consumers are interested in.
Right.
Corporations are not going to not use those, right? On the off chance that they might be wrong one day. It's like, oh well, these metrics, they're always skewed anyway.
Yep.
There's more people who love us than hate us, so we're just going to continue to do what we've been doing all along. And then they go out of business because that turned out that was real. So they're not going to.
Right, you can't be wrong. Like you can't risk being wrong. But
exactly.
But
like I said, it's a popularity contest. Don't fall out of favor.
So you're saying it's a popularity contest. I took what you said as being a popularity contest of the participants, rather than you're talking about the corporations and from the corporations to the public.
The corporations are always going to follow the mob, because the mob is the group with the money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you do not fall out of favor with the mob, because the corporations aren't going to defend you, because you're getting away in the way of their making money, which is basically how it all works in the capitalist situation. People are talking about like it's morally wrong. The cancel culture is morally wrong, but it's perpetuated by the money making.
Well, it's empowered. I said that it's empowered by the corporations. The corporations give it power because they perceive that.
How else are they supposed to proceed though?
They're
not obligated to provide work for anybody. If the person anybody that they've hired to do work for them is hired with the understanding that person is going to generate revenue for them.
I think though the appropriate response to anything of any allegations, and in this case, it's the inappropriate behavior on set from that Ray Fisher said. It's the pregnancy discrimination that Chris McCarpenter said. Warrant an investigation. They do an investigation. It's not as if Warner Brothers has to reveal the information to the public either. They don't owe the public that. Now to your point,
of course they owe the public. If the public is where they're getting their money from, and the public are the ones in demand of answers, so that you could exonerate whomever,
it might be good business to reveal it. But it might not be good business. This is what I'm saying.
Either. If the corporations, if they do the investigation in order to either properly dismiss someone or exonerate them, then they're going to have to go public with their findings.
Yeah. In this case, though, quite frankly, you saw two different things happen, right? I mean, just like you said, it does not seem as clear cut as one person was right and one person was wrong. If Warner Brothers would risk the money and also dismiss the character of Cyborg altogether. Right? Like there's an interesting aspect to this. Now, yes, I would love to know what the results of the investigation were. I would love to know what the discipline were. I don't think Warner Brothers owes us, except for the fact of, like you said, if down the line we don't go see the Snyder Cut now because of what happened, we don't go and see.
Well, if you were accused of doing something untoward on set, right, and whatever, and then then everybody went viral, everybody on Twitter or whatever, and Warner Brothers said we're going to do an investigation on Dolce to make sure that he did or didn't do this thing, blah, blah, blah. Wouldn't you want those findings to become public, especially if you were innocent?
But that's my point, though, right? Like that is the interesting part about all this, right? Like, I don't disagree with you.
Well, I'm saying that those things have to.
And look, to Ray Fisher's credit, also though, he is vocally releasing. He had that recording of someone telling him, like, you did this absolutely professionally, whatever. It sounds, and based off of history, it sounds like Joss Whedon's in the wrong, but it also sounds like Warner Brothers is in the wrong. But at least Warner Brothers did an investigation.
Not going to take a hit for it, though. That's what I'm talking about. It's a popularity contest. Warner Brothers not going to be the one taking a hit. They're not going to be the ones that fall.
Maybe they will.
They're not going to. No one's going to topple Warner Brothers. Not anytime soon. For firing a director, they fired basically both people. They did and
they got rid of Jeff Johns too.
They went scorched earth.
Yes,
because Jeff Johns is whatever.
And they did, right?
But
I know. No, I know.
So I mean, I'm just saying, like, everybody's thinking there's a moral. There's a moral problem with all of this stuff. Right. What would be the moral problem? What is the moral liability? I can't make money anymore. I can't have you part of this organization anymore. You got to go because you're in the way of the purpose of the organization is to continue to exist, right? It's to continue to thrive and to grow. You're in the way of that. I got to get rid of you. It's not my responsibility to make sure that you get due process. I'm looking at the numbers, and the numbers are telling me that you are now hindering my ability to make bank.
I think Ray Fisher's case is that he started attacking Hamada also, who's the head of
I mean, yeah, I'm not. Yeah, man, I'm not even saying that Ray Fisher was wronged or he was right or wrong or in. I have nothing. I haven't said a word about Ray Fisher.
Right.
I said, what do you think should happen to Joss Whedon, assuming that he is guilty of what he's accused of? That's what I said.
If it's that he can't, if that his kind of behavior cannot either be rehabilitated, because there was always supposed to be second chances, but if whatever he did is so egregious, and again there are discrimination laws, so if he broke a law, then the punishment will fit whatever the crime was. If he broke a law that with Charisma Carpenter that he discriminated against her based on her pregnancy, which is terrible, and I outright condemn it, then whatever the appropriate punishment for that is, I'm all in favor of it. I'm all in favor of that.
The only way to fix it is for the corporations, as you say, to launch investigations and to be rigorous about it. But I don't think corporations are going to launch investigations. I think they get easy metrics from these from social media.
Right.
They decide who to hire and who to fire by who's popular and who's not, and that's it.
Perceived popularity, right? Exactly.
Yeah, they're not gonna look any deeper into the situation. It's not it's not their job to rehabilitate anybody socially, So that's unfortunate. And I mean, I speak knowing that at any moment, any one of us can be a victim of this, this circumstance.
It's a good thing we're not very popular.
So no one cares about it. You're not too popular, but
I'm very true.
Yeah.
No one loves you. I'll take your side. What do you guys think?
That is such BS.
The worst decision Joss Whedon could have ever made, or would it have come out eventually? Put it in the comments. We'll discuss it as we do every week, and we will come back later on and respond to your comments as well on Facebook.com/Rogue Matter Podcasts. When we come back, we are going to dive into the two final trailers, and we're going to announce our March movie madness topic, which is related to one of the trailers we are going to dissect when we come back.
Welcome to Button Stash, the show about the best mustaches in gaming.
Casey, it's Button Smash. It's the new gaming podcast from the Rogue Matter Network. I don't know where you got mustaches from.
Well, I'm not shaving. But we will talk about gaming news, reviews, inside scoops, and retrospectives.
Join us live on twitch.tv/WeAreRogueMatter on Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, or download our episodes wherever you listen to your podcast.
But please, Casey, shave.
Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast. You just saw the Button Smash commercial. Button Smash is our sister podcast on twitch.tv/WeAreRogueMatter. They're going to be doing a very special May the 4th episode of Star Wars. They're going to be on Tuesday, May 4th. They're on every Thursday, as the commercial said, but you can catch them May 4th. It's going to be super special. It's going to be super exciting. Nothing but Star Wars games. Not to spoil anything, but it's May the 4th, so I don't think I'm spoiling anything by saying that. And it's going to be pretty cool. So check that out and subscribe to them on twitch.tv. A little later on, next segment, we're going to have Diane and Britt Sellers from Scoffer Studios as well, too. So they're going to talk about their new animated film starring the King of Horror, Mr. Tim Curry. Although I always think of him as the King of Clue, because that's where I love him from.
No, legend.
I like it. Legend, yes. Yeah, so we're talking about them up next. But right now, we got two things to do of equal importance, but I think the second part is going to be even more important. Two final trailers came out. Again, I'm wearing. I'm gonna put this in the viewpoint, in the viewer. I'm wearing my Captain America Shield shirt. So we got Falcon and Winter Soldier coming out essentially the same day as the Snyder Cut, right? I mean, I guess Snyder Cut is debuting Thursday, and Falcon and Winter Soldier will be
technically
Friday.
The Snyder Cut is going to drop tonight.
Yeah,
so tomorrow night will be Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, so I mean, we've got a busy.
Depending on your fortitude.
Dude, I'm watching it in 6 parts. There's no, I can tell you right off the bat, like it's going to be. I'm watching it as the director intended.
Understood.
which is 6 parts. Because my God,
I don't think the director intended that, but okay,
no,
fair enough.
So either,
fair enough. Yeah.
So they
pretty
dropped.
sure he didn't.
They dropped final trailer for both of them, and my shocking news to you was that final trailer from Snyder Cut made me want to watch it more than that final trailer from Falcon and Winter Soldier. Yes, we're going to watch it. I understand that. And I know your response to this is that trailers don't get you excited as much as the material. I get that. But I got to say, I kind of watched that final trailer of Snyder Cut. I'm going like, man, I'm really hoping this is good. Because this trailer, Zack Snyder's the king of trailers. We could do a March Movie Madness on his trailers alone. They're always so good, but it actually got me more excited. I don't know what it was either. I can't tell you what it was about this particular one. Dark Side, maybe just more Dark Side in it. Full disclosure, I'm not a huge like DC guy, so it's not like watching Dark Side on screen is something I've been imagining for many, many years, but I understand the significance of a character like Dark Side, who is essentially the Thanos of the DC universe, and this is long before Thanos was a household name. But it was cool. Like, it was an action-packed thriller, and it got me kind of like really excited. Whereas I watched the Falcon and Winter Soldier trailer, and I kind of like, I'm going to watch it. I'm sure it's going to be great. I don't know if it was just because maybe I've seen enough of the footage already, but it just didn't grab me. I don't know.
Was there a question in there?
I'm curious what you thought. I'm curious what you think of my reaction to it.
I don't know if you want to know what my reaction to
I do want to know. Yes, I do. I do.
I see what you're saying about, but I mean, it just looks good. Whenever I see stuff like this, I just want to know from the images that I'm being given what the story could possibly be about. All right. So like the number one thing that motivated me to want to see Infinity War wasn't so much that it was a big tentpole event for the MCU. It was like, I want to see, this is Infinity War. You've been promising this to me for 10 years. I just want to see how this all falls together.
Right.
I don't even want to see who's going to win, who's going to die, I just want to see how this, just like the same as WandaVision. It's like, I understand the notion of it, or I understand the premise. It's just can you entertain me? You know, can this fall together in such a way that I'm just going to continue to be compelled to watch it? Now, spoiler alert for me, I won't necessarily say I'll watch anything, but
I'm not a whore when it comes to my viewing experience.
This is our genre. That's what I don't understand about a lot of people. It's like, well, this is what we say that we're, we've for all intents and purposes dedicated our lives to this stuff, right? So there's people who are actually making entertainment for people in our mindset, right? For people who have the same pursuits, who are several rungs up the ladder of the same ladder that we're all climbing. Why wouldn't we watch it just to learn something, just to be part of the community that we're in? And still people have this kind of attitude. It's like, I'm not going to watch it. It's going to be a waste of my time. It's, well, okay, fine. Right. That's anybody's choice. You're allowed to it. I don't understand it, but that's fine. So like, if you see a trailer, like I see a trailer with a guy with wings who, basically avoiding getting hit by trucks and, various things like that. And there's people doing kicks and flips and punches and, the standard fare for your MCU.
Right.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be solid. I'm sure the action sequences are going to be, sort of breathtaking.
Right.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot of banter. I am interested because both Falcon and the Winter Soldier have been sort of story neglected,
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm talking personality wise. You just didn't see, you didn't. So I'd like to see the two of them together in their own form. That both of them have kind of fascinating stories. That said, it's kind of that high octane, look out for the truck kind of a trailer. And I get what you're saying. I watched the Snyder Cut. The thing is, the Snyder Cut trailer, the most recent, last over the titular last trailer for and it's another much debated, much touted super event that's supposed to happen in our, a seismic event in our community.
Right.
I'm interested in seeing it just in and of itself. However, that trailer was pretty spectacular. It's the difference between people trying to catch a bus and, watching people trying to catch a giant.
Right.
The two are interesting. The premise of each are interesting. I hope the old lady catches that bus. She's got to be someplace. Versus, wow, that kid's fighting a giant with a rock. It's a completely different spectacle.
Right.
And
in a way, look, it's not fair to judge Falcon and Winter Soldier because it is a TV show. However, WandaVision has now set the bar high in terms of what you can accomplish.
Yeah, but they're gonna meet that bar. It's gonna be fine. I mean, here's the thing: no one's expecting too much from Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I'm not talking about like they're not expecting it to be good. It is not an existential, spiritual journey. They're not gonna try to sell us on grief. They've already gotten over the hump of we're gonna sell you a show about a woman grieving about her dead boyfriend.
Right. And
we're going to make it spectacular.
Right.
And at the selling point, when they sat down to sell it to us, we were like, can we get a guy with a lightsaber in there somewhere? Something like that. We were very skeptical, Yeah. And then in the process of watching it for the 9 weeks that they strung us out to watch it, we became devotees. Right. I'm pretty sure, especially look, if Falcon and Winter Soldier does the Winter Soldier, it has the same vibe as the Winter Soldier from Captain America 2.
Yeah.
We'll be all right.
I got to rewatch that. I got to rewatch that movie. I told you, I've said this before in the show, and I apologize to anybody who's heard me say this already. I watched it, and it got spoiled for me by Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because you were supposed to watch the movie first and then the episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But this is back in the day when MCU was not on the same page. They were trying to get on the same page.
Yeah, but they're
totally different departments.
The two heads of the departments did not like each other.
Exactly right, and totally different departments. And it's like, dude, don't release the episode the day you release the movie in theaters. I'm not going to be able to do both.
No, that's not their fault. You're not supposed to watch it until you've seen the movie.
Right.
That's your job there, Michael. That was you. You ruined that.
I didn't know.
It's not anybody's fault but yours.
And we didn't have as cutthroat an internet as we do now to make me wary of spoilers and things like that. So I gotta watch it with a clear head. I really do. But ultimately, yes. Do I think I'm being set up again by Zack Snyder because I've seen so many of his trailers and just been underwhelmed? Yes, but did I watch this trailer and think, gee, you know what? I think it. I'm like Charlie Brown with the football right now. I just know it.
Oh boy,
I'm gonna keep getting. This is the time. This is the trailer that I'm gonna kick the football. This is the one. This is the one. All right, real quick before we go to break. It's March Madness again. We're actually having a March Madness this year. Thank you very much. COVID ruining my favorite time of year in real life. So it's going to be basketball. We do our March Movie Madness, which we still had last year. Debated on this one because we had Falcon and Winter Soldier and Snyder Cut. I was like, maybe we'll take the Snyderverse comic book movies and pit them against the Falcon and Winter Soldier verse movies. But then I was trying to think, like, how many of those could we do? And ultimately, it's going to be Winter Soldier that wins, or it's going to be Infinity War. I thought you could have Endgame, you could have Infinity War, you could have Civil War, you could have Cap the First Avenger, you could have Winter Soldier. That's only 5 films, though. I can't think. We have to have at least 8. Well, I guess we could have 4. But again, ultimately, whatever's coming out of that bracket is going to destroy anything that comes out of the Snyderverse, which would have been Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Shazam, Wonder Woman, and then this Justice League movie. Right? Like, that's only 5 films, too. I can't think of any other. Oh, Suicide Squad, Aquaman, right? So you'd have 7 in the Snyderverse universe. versus the Winter Soldier universe. And ultimately, I just didn't like. And we've done MCU film. We did MCU films 2 years ago for Endgame. So I'm saying we get rid of that. Let's, in honor of the Snyder Cut coming out. So why are you shaking your head?
I'm trying to stick with you on this complete whirlwind of mental mental bouillonnaise that you're fucking spearing out.
You complain that you're not inside my head. You are literally now inside my head.
I don't want to be here. I just want you to ask me a coherent question.
I didn't get
I
to
can
it
answer
yet.
your question.
I know this is not a question. It's gonna be an announcement. So instead, I thought, why don't we just take all the Snyder films? Because in honor of the Snyder Cut,
oh my god, we went through all that just for you.
I thought it was an amazing journey.
I bet you do.
I took you on a roller coaster ride.
I bet you do. All right. Okay.
We got to come up with.
Yes, it was amazing. I was amazed.
We are going to include Zack Snyder's Justice League because it will be out. When's Army of the Dead actually?
I don't know.
Being released. I don't think it's in time.
Yeah, no.
I don't think it's going to be out in time.
No.
May 21st. Yeah, so it's definitely not.
Yeah, no.
It's definitely, and Fountainhead is not coming out either. It's in fact
so we're stuck with the ones he's already done.
Yes. So those two are not good, but
Snyder.
We are not going, but we are going to include Zack Snyder's Justice League. We're not going to include Justice League because that was
we're not going to include the Justice League.
We're going to eliminate that.
I'm never watching the Justice League again, no matter how the Snyder League goes.
Yeah, he's done a bunch of like short films and music videos. We're not including that. So it's not it's a literal feature filmography from him. It doesn't mean he has to write and direct everything. It just means he has to have directed the film. Okay.
Okay.
We got Dawn of the Dead. We got 300. We got Watchmen. We got Sucker Punch. We got Legends of the Guardians, the Owls of Ga'Hoole. I don't even know what the heck that is. Do you have any idea what that is?
Yes.
Is it worthy of being added to this?
It's one of his films. I
know, but we got to narrow it down to 8 so we can have a bracket. So
what are the other films?
So right now we have Watchmen 300, Dawn of the Dead, Sucker Punch, Legends of the Guardians, Man of Steel. So we got 6 here right now. We've got Batman v Superman. And then we've got Zack Snyder's Justice League. That would make 8 films. All right. I think that works out perfect. So we don't even have to eliminate anything right now. I think.
Do we have Dawn of the Dead?
We have Dawn of the Dead.
Okay.
We have 300.
300.
We have Watchmen. We have Legends of the Guardians, the Owls of Ga'Hoole. We have Sucker Punch, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, Zack Snyder's Justice League. Look at that. Perfect. That's our bracket. We will dissect it next week. We will also be talking lots of other stuff coming up next. Well, wait. Before we go coming up next, do you have anything to add about our bracket?
Nope. Nothing to add about your bracket.
Is it a solid bracket for this year's March Movie Madness?
Yes, Michael. I've given it some deep consideration, and for me and the committee have decided that these are good entries. This is a solid bracket.
Yeah. It does also mean that we're going to have...
I don't even know what a bracket is, but as brackets go, this is a good bracket. Let us partake in this bracket and be bracketed.
We'll post some polls.
To your bracket.
We're going to post some polls on Twitter and Facebook on the Rogue Matter Twitter, which is Rogue_Matter. And we're going to post some polls on the Facebook pages, both the Rogue Matter podcast page and the Rogue the Rogue Matter page. And we're going to get some insight into what you guys think about these matchups. And we're going to have them in a nice bracket style. We'll do it all nice. It'll coincide next week with our review of we don't do reviews here. We do reactions. A reaction to the Snyder Cut next week. When we come back, Hassan's Rogue Rage, all the rage in the pop culture universe. Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast. We do this every week. Hassan's Rogue Rage, brought to you by Hassan Godwin. Hassan, what do you got?
Yay, me. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think that we are going to suffer franchise fatigue?
It was
pertaining to comic book movies, the MCU, the DCEU, the now defunct Fox X-Men franchise. Like, what do you think that we're
years ago
come into superhero fatigue?
Years ago, I wondered that exact thing, and my answer now, because so much time has passed, is no.
You don't think?
I think Marvel has done it in such a way that it is a self-feeding machine that it is now, and it's become so ingrained. And you talk to any Joe on the street, right? Anybody, man or woman, about what they're watching and what they're into. Like, everyone's like, I love those Marvel movies. I love those Marvel movies. So they don't even see it as like.
Yeah, I hear a little pushback every now and then from people who are surprisingly not into the Marvel movies, which kind of weirds me out a little bit, because there is no one kind of Marvel movie. There's quite a variety of them. So if you hate all the Marvel movies in general, then it's probably, I would accuse you, I don't know if this is true or not, but I would accuse you of being a contrarian.
Right.
My point is that there are so many people now talking about or warning about like franchise fatigue with mostly with the MCU, but also with the DC. Well, the DCU is doing its best to burn itself out regardless of what anybody else thinks. And I find it a phenomenon. It's a strange phenomenon to get something, to like what you've gotten, and to like it so much that you're kind of betting on it falling apart, you know?
Yeah.
It's like the idea of, getting a great salad, right? And you're like, man, this is gonna go real bad in the fridge in like 2 days. It's like you're banking on it, man. Like, this is one of the crispest, most wonderful salads I've ever had.
Yes.
And very shortly it will be brown and all curled up and I won't be able to eat it. It's the strangest phenomenon that I've ever seen. And I've seen people do like vlog and op-ed after op-ed after op-ed after op-ed about like just first it's the WandaVision. Can
right
Disney Plus live up to the cinematic exploits of the MCU, right? And then they want to launch into WandaVision. Can WandaVision hold our attention after a year of drought of entertainment movies during the time of COVID or whatever? And then I don't know, 2-3, maybe about week 3 in WandaVision, the dynamic of the discussion changed all of a sudden, and everyone's like, whoa, WandaVision doing some amazing stuff. MCU's done it again. My God, they're keeping us enthralled. Can you believe that we're this into a story about a person who is so obsessed with sitcoms that they've literally enslaved an entire small town and forced them all to live I Love Lucy? And so, like, this is a collective good. Everyone's sort of enjoying it. Everybody is teed up and entertained. And we're not talking about terrible things. There's a lot of terrible things, which I will not list, but have happened in the last year and a half. In the last few months. Huh?
I heard good.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. I'm sure they were good for you. You hit your head that one time, so everything's been good since then.
I was Jared Leto in the desert.
We're talking about freaking comic books. We're talking about comic book movies and TV shows. We have this device that we have this delivery service, the streaming service that's going to deliver us entertainment straight into our houses. We don't even have to go anywhere. We don't have to have a family car. We don't have to pack everybody in and go to the movie theaters. It's all coming to us, right? At the end of this month, we're going to get a Godzilla movie. We're going to get Godzilla beating the crap out of King Kong, which is the way it should be, as opposed to King Kong beating the. Don't give it away for the people. Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. So my fascination is why people are constantly trying to wreck it on a regular basis. And it seems like a compulsion to me. It seems like people are compelled to be the first to be there when it all falls apart.
Do you want the existential answer?
Do you have an answer, or do you have? Is it a whimsy kind of thing?
No, I have an existential. I have two.
You have an existential answer. Okay, what's your existential?
One is the existential, and then one is a more superficial answer. The existential answer is that we are existential creatures, and we are obsessed with our own
existentialism.
We are obsessed with our eventual own demise.
You were talking about death. We are equating the death of our favorite entertainment.
Yes, I'm equating that deep down within us, we are always looking ahead to when this is all going to end for us individually or us as a collective. And therefore, we are projecting that onto anything that's good in our lives. Anything that's good in our lives.
That's a fascinating take.
Didn't expect that, did you?
I didn't expect it from you.
We are always looking at this is what the fun of being second chair is. That's the existential take. The superficial take is Kings of Leon just came out with a new record. It's awesome. It's an awesome record. Go check it out.
I didn't even know they were still together. I'm kidding.
I sent it to you. I sent the article to you. They have some of the songs they're doing stuck in my head for days. Couldn't get it out. Not in a bad way. I wasn't like, damn it, that song stuck in my head. I kept waking up being like, I want to listen to that song.
Damn you, Kings of Leon. Damn you.
I've listened to enough music, though, in my life to know that at some point that feeling is going to end. And so it is this trend of superhero films, which has now become more of an institution, more of a staple. Look, unless you're 12 years old or 10 years old or 7 years old, where this is your first roller coaster ride with this kind of thing, at some point, you're not going to get your 90s comics. You're not going to get your 90s hip hop. You're not going to get your 90s alternative. These are all things that I loved and I grew up with. It's not something that is just an automatic. It's going to always evolve. It's always going to end. You've seen the movie. You know the movies.
Well, wait, hold on. But in keeping with what you just said, let me ask you this question. When you were listening to Kings of Leon,
yes,
were you saying to yourself while listening to, man, eventually I'm going to hate this album? This album's going to suck eventually.
No, but I was walking my dog, and I was listening, and the song that had been stuck in my head was back in my head, and it was like, man, compelling me. I can't wait to go listen to this song again, because it really is. It was the right song for the right moment at this point in my life, and I thought, man, it's going to suck when this is no longer that feeling, and I'm going to move on to the next thing.
Yeah, but lamenting something, like if you're at a party and you're going to be, and you're saying, man, it's going to suck when we all leave, man, we're having such a great time. It's going to suck when this party is. That's not so bad. That's not bad. That's not the equivalent of that. The equivalent of what I'm talking about is like, it's like, man, eventually Janine's going to die and she's never going to do these parties again. Like that's what I'm talking about. Yes. Like eventually this is all going to, when is this going to happen? When is this thing that is fulfilling us going to stop fulfilling us?
Yes.
And then what are we going to do? And I want to be the first to predict that it is happening, that the end times are near, it's the guy walking around the street with the sign, the end is near. Yes. Right. But everybody wants to do that. That's like our entire industry is to constantly posit.
Yes.
When is this all going to fall apart?
Yes.
It's the most ridiculous thing. And I don't know why the hysteria is there. I don't know why we do that to ourselves. Like, it seems to me that we're not able to enjoy what we have. We just have to want it to be crushed.
Which one of my answers best suits your or comes as close to what you think is the reason?
Which one of your answers of the existential crisis of we're all worried about dying?
Get stuck in my head and eventually they don't.
I think it's a combination of the superficial and also the ego of wanting to be the first to predict the superficial.
Yeah.
The death thing is I gotta give that a little more. I gotta let that cook a little more.
I see how uncomfortable you are on that show. You're like, he just made a point that not only do I agree with, but I think was friggin' deep.
I don't know if I think it's a disturbingly deep point that you made. I will give you that, but I don't know if I agree with it. I have to think about it.
Okay, but you acknowledge the deepness
of it. It's not bothering me because I agree with it. It's like it's unusually deep from you, you know, like it is. So I gotta wonder who's feeding you those answers. That's what I'm wondering, basically.
Yes,
I think your wife is slipping you notes right there while off camera. Mention death. Always gets him. Gets them every time. Mention death. He'll be cowed. He won't be able to say a word. You'll win.
This has been Son's Rogue Rage of the Week. We do it every week. All the rage.
I wasn't mad this time. It was a question.
No.
So sometimes the rage is to get answers. That's what the rage is.
As deep as I think it's as deep as your rage has gotten, which is good. Or your rage has ignited a deepness in me that we didn't know.
Oh God! All right, end the segment. Now you've ruined it. Let's get out of here.
When we come back, we welcome Britt and Diane Sellers to the show. They are the head of Scoffer Studios. They got a cool animated film coming out. It's got Tim Curry in it and lots of cool stuff. We are excited to talk to these Rogue creators when we come back. Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast, talking comics, movies, TV, and pop culture with the Rogues who create it. And joining us tonight, we have Britt and Diane Sellers, the face and name of Scoffer Studios. Welcome to the show.
Hi, guys. Welcome to Scoffer Studios interview.
Yeah, well, I love it. See, this is great. If you want to interview me, that's even better. So then I don't have to do any work. It's even fantastic. No, Scoffer Studios, you're an animated film studio. You've got a stable of A-list voice actors, including the iconic Tim Curry, starring in one of your films. Talk to us about your films. Would love to, let the audience know more about what you guys are doing.
Okay, right now we have 2 animated films in production. The first one is, of course, Dagon Troll World Chronicles, and it's a star-studded film. I mean, we've packed it with the brightest, the best, the most glamorous in Hollywood. We have people from Disney. We've got people from Funimation. And of course, we have Tim Curry, the dark, fantastic, the king of horror.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And this is pretty much like a horror noir animation film. Is going to be a cult following film. We're already getting people saying this is going to be an instant cult following because it is freaking strange. I mean, this is going to be like 2.5 to 3 hours long.
Wow.
Which is unprecedented. It's definitely an R-rated. This is not a kids show. So it is going to be something that's never really been done before.
Mm-hmm.
We have Bryce Papenbrook from Funimation. He's the star of like 45 animated films that everyone is obsessed with. Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan, Sword Art Online. He's in everything. And we cast Bryce at the very beginning of this film production.
Yeah.
And he's stayed a friend with us. A lot of our stars become friends. We're kind of like Jim Henson Studios. We kind of adopt all our stars and we're like family.
That's amazing. What's the synopsis of the film?
Okay, what it does is it takes a look at the planet Goth, which is like a really sinful, corrupt planet. And the biggest commerce for Goth is sugar. It's like an addiction. It's like cocaine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then it goes to our protagonist, which is Dagon. He's a kind of a badass demon slayer hitman for hire. And you look at him and you say, who is Dagon? And Dagon is really a killer, and he's cold-hearted, but at the same time, unknown to himself, he has deep integrity, and he has limits of how bad he will go. So you're looking at Dagon, the star of this, and his journey as he tries to live his life to his own morality, but at the same time he wants to get the hell off of Goth. He hates Goth. He's like, this place is the worst. I got to get off Goth. So he wants to make one last big score, but it never really comes up. Finally, it comes up. He has an opportunity to get off Goth, make this huge score, make a lot of cash, and get out of there. But there's one little problem. He has to go against his own morality and even his low moral codes to make this one big score. Let's see if he can do it. And then it kind of progresses to some side action, a lot of sex, a lot of love triangles. And what is really cool about this film is it's funny. It's laugh out loud funny, but at the same time, you will be crying at parts of it because it places Dagon with his two best friends. And one of those is Jacqueline. He's known this guy forever. They're best buds. They grew up together on Goth. And Dagon's big score involves Jacqueline pitching in to help him, plus Jacqueline's fiance, Maxine, who's like this big badass female troll. I mean, she's a ball buster. She'll kick your ass.
Think female pro wrestler.
And so he takes these two on a journey with him to take this item, he calls it a flesh item, to the buyer. Now, in this transition of getting this flesh item to the buyer, there becomes a lot of entanglements, a lot of soul searching, and a lot of what shall we do when they find out that the flesh item, which happens to be a 2-year-old baby girl, who is the only daughter of Earth's ambassador, is going to cause a global war. It's going to cause a interplanetary war. It's going to cause this huge galaxy war between Earth and Goth because the baby is stolen.
And Dagon doesn't realize it. He thinks that the baby is going to be like a rich troll's pet, and that he's like a collector who wants to purchase a human child for his collection of oddities. And what actually is happening is the buyer wants to kill and eat the child in order to start this interplanetary war. And when Dagon finds out this fact, he's like, oh, hell no.
So that's what you mean by, that means he's going to have to face his own moral compass by the end of this. So it's a really simple film is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. It has a lot of where Earth doesn't want to cause a planetary incident with Goth, and Goth doesn't really want to get nuked by Earth, and it gets a little complicated. Then we bring in the collector. His name is Hungan. Hungan wants this baby not only to start a war, but he wants to eat it because he hates Earth's ambassador. He hates Earthlings. He hates Earth. And he wants power on Goth. So he brings in our star, Tim Curry, who is Necrofer, the demon. He's an immortal demon. He's lived for millennia. And he just is kind of a trickster and a prankster and a fun guy. He kind of like shows up wherever there is an apocalyptic war. People are dead, dying, disease, disaster. He just for fun shows up.
He's just awful.
That's awesome.
So Hungan kind of gets in touch with Necrofer and says, I got this really fun thing. I've got an interplanetary war brewing. People are dying and going to die. I've got this gangster troll with a big reputation of being the baddest of the bad, Dagon. I want you to take him down. And Necrofer's like, what's in it for me? And so the two really sick characters are discussing all this. It's really fun. And you get to kind of have insight onto Necrofer's little fun side in a few minutes of his background, because he's really a sexy, sick character.
That's it. Like I said, it sounds cool, and I've seen the trailer that you have up on the Facebook page and the YouTube page. Let me talk about the animation for a second too. It's got a cool, like, underground vibe. Like, you definitely say, like, it's going to be like a cult classic. So it's neat that you kind of have like the animation on one end, and then but then you kind of loaded it with really cool voice actors.
Stop motion.
Yeah, it is
stop motion deal. It's going to be a lot slicker when we get to the end of it. We're bringing in some more animators.
Cool.
This is an all-woman studio. We're probably the only one in the world, kind of like a unicorn in the industry.
Sure.
And kind of like Penny Marshall or Sofia Coppola. We kind of are trailbreaking here. We're trying to go out there and do all of this all-woman power and just really take the spotlight in the industry as being all women, all owned, directed, produced.
Yeah.
We produced this ourselves, and we've had a lot of people looking at us. We've had a lot of offers from cable systems and networks, and streaming media, saying, we want to distribute, we want to buy you. We've actually turned down 3 offers, and we're going to look for a really big distribution company to push us out there when we're done. We're probably, I would say, 10 months to a year from finish.
We keep on adding in new scenes because it just gets more and more elaborate and more fun. We're like, let's add in this scene, let's add in that scene. This is so great. Otherwise, we'd have been done by now.
What are you guys? Have you at this point, or are you thinking of taking this to like Kickstarter at all? Something that kind of is the Rogue mentality of kind of taking it straight to the audience to help with anything, or do you even?
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
We're considering running a new Kickstarter later this summer. We haven't really focused on that as much as creating the actual film, but we're pretty much probably going to do that. We'll see. We'll let you guys know when we do, and maybe we can have another interview.
Let us know.
We've got kind of a agent guy in New York, and he brings us in people that want to back our film. So we have had a little bit of backing, but mostly we have run this ourselves on our own money and contacted all the actors, or they contacted us. Like, we have quite a few that contacted us. We had some really good actors from the UK come in. We had Julian Seeger, and he's from Vikings. So we're getting interviews now. I'm hopefully going to have Tim do a video interview talking about Scoffers and his part and add it to our website. But we were talking to Marsha Horowitz, and she was saying we wouldn't even have considered Dagon for Tim if we hadn't looked at it and thought it was great.
That's great.
So, that's kind of like the golden seal of approval. We recorded Tim in Salami Studios, Hollywood, and we would have loved to be there with him, but because of COVID, we couldn't. But we have a wonderful relationship with him, and we love him, and would probably bring him in on anything else that we're doing, like a sequel or a prequel.
That's fantastic. Well, you got 10 months of work left to go. We can't talk about sequels yet.
We have high hopes for Dagon. We see it going pretty far.
Yeah, it's
We're
amazing.
excited.
So just last question is, again, being females in the industry, you named a couple role models, you named a couple people that might kind of emulate what you do, but is there any particular works that have inspired you, or any creators that have inspired you to get this?
Oh God, yes.
Point?
Oh God, yes. Ridley Scott, Blade Runner. Our movie has a vibe that is so Blade Runner. We've also been compared to
Sin City.
Sin City.
I can definitely see that. Yeah.
And Death Note. We've been compared to Death Note too, which is pretty awesome.
If you're in the nerd animation genre where you're just addicted to animation films, anime, like Death Note, Attack on Titan, you can kind of see our vibe. Of course, they have a budget of $500 million, and we
a little bit higher.
So, with our budget, we're going to do as close to Death Note as we can with our animation skills and our whole finished product.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I would say right now we're buying a lot of music because we are buying original scores. We have one symphony called Fall of Man that we purchased. It's a whole symphony. So we're definitely doing this high end and totally strapping ourselves and going out there and paying for the very best that we can possibly get. We're hoping to bring in a couple of more fabulous stars. On our radar is Jack Black.
Oh, nice.
So he would be a great addition on our radar, and we've already talked with him, and he is receptive. Elijah Wood.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, my, nice.
Well, I mean, I got to tell you that
Elijah, so it was fun.
We hung out with Elijah because we had to do a panel in Phoenix. He was in Phoenix, so we kind of got to talk to him a couple of times. He already knew us. We'd already sent him some information on the film, so we got to kind of hang with him for a tiny bit. And so
he was very receptive to the idea of being in our film. So we're gonna see where that goes.
Pursue that. There's no reason not to. Yeah, I think that's fantastic.
It basically comes down to how much we can afford.
Money talks for sure. I mean, that's the stuff that really also drew me to the project, though, too, is the fact that you do have so much support from people from actors in Hollywood. But what I really loved was, I mean, you guys are really doing this from the ground up. I mean, this is as rogue as it gets in terms of we have an idea and we want to make it happen.
Oh, yeah. And our whole name, Scoffer, just says it all. We're like, forget the gatekeepers. Here we come.
You say we can't do it, we'll prove you wrong.
That's right. I love it. Where can folks find you, and where can folks can take a look at the film or the trailers right now?
You can look up Dagon Troll World Chronicles or Scoffer Studios on Facebook, on YouTube, pretty much everywhere. We're listed anywhere there's
IMDb.
Yeah, IMDb. Just we're everywhere.
And we would love you to follow, subscribe, like us, support, and spread the word.
Well, we will definitely have you guys back on when the film's completed. Love to see it. Love to see the final outcome. But again, it's got that cool rogue vibe to it. Like you guys really are, like I said, from the ground up and just taking on the gatekeepers. So appreciate it and love having you guys on.
We loved it. It was fun. We love interviews with cool guys like you guys.
Well, that's where we fooled you. That's where we fooled you. That's where we fooled you. When we come back, we will put a bow on tonight's episode. Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast. I want to thank Britt and Diane. Go check out their Facebook page and go look up their film. It's very cool. It's very like, I felt like very DIY, very guerrilla style, just taking it and doing it out there, but then being backed by some A-list Hollywood actors and voice actors. I was very impressed with how much they were able to kind of do, just again, ground up, all female production companies. So go check out their stuff. Next week, I know Hassan was not excited earlier in the show. No, actually, that's not true. You were very excited. Next week, we're going to react to Snyder Cut. We finally get to see it. We will react to the first episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier 2, because it's basically going to be out for the next 6 weeks. But we're also going to do our March movie madness bracket. You've had time to digest it, Hassan. Any comment, any feedback? Who's your preemptive winner you think that's going to ultimately come? No, don't give me that. We can't do that.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna, so don't worry. Don't you worry.
Do you think that we will have solid enough matchups in this?
No.
So you think there's like one clear winner as to the best Zack Snyder film in your head? You don't have to say which one.
Out of all his movies.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like one that rises above the rest. Okay.
Yes.
All right. I actually, in my head, I'm kind of debating. And the answer 0. No, he's got some merit there. So we're very interested to see. We're going to get your take. Again, go to the Facebook pages, facebook.com/Rogue Matter Podcasts, facebook.com/We Are Rogue Matter, twitter.com/Rogue_Matter. We're going to do some polls and tally those up as well. And we'll use them to either bolster or counter our arguments. And we will be doing our March Movie Madness next week. We will also be welcoming an awesome guest next week. We have the one and only, as I get his name here, Joshua Bitton, best known for his work as J.P. Morgan on Steven Spielberg's The Pacific and Sully, the lovable slob on ABC's hit Castle. He's going to be coming by to promote his new film, The Tangle. So we're just jam-packed now. The content drought is over, Hassan.
Mm.
I know. I love it.
I didn't know there was a drought, but okay.
We'll see you guys next week.
Rogue Wave.